welcome to 30 Days of Hoya. Today we will take a look at hoyajennifer. You can see hoyajennifer in the second frame a little bit better than in the first one. This Hoya is a hybrid, so this is a cross between Hoya incrustata and Hoya finlaysonii, and the cross was made by Michael Miyashiro. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. The hybrid was made in Hawaii in 1995. You can see the traces of both parents in this plant. It has this wonderful veining on the leaf, and the flowers are supposed to be somewhat similar to Hoya incrustata, but just a bit larger. In terms of temperature, I didn't find any definitive sources where we could place this Hoya, but considering that Hoya incrustata and finlaysonii are the parents, I would say that it would do well in that intermediate range. So from 15 to 35 degrees of Celsius or from 60 to 95 degrees of Fahrenheit. So don't think you should have too much issue with temperature in this Hoya. I do think your home doesn't have to be so hot, and you should still be able to grow this Hoya well. In terms of light, I keep this Hoya 20 or 30 centimeters under my LED light. It is a 36 watt LED light with around 4,000 lumens, and it's cool white, so it's 6,500 kelvins. And I never noticed that this one will get any light stress or damage from the too much light. It does have this blemish here, and I'm not quite sure what happened there. I don't think it's a pest issue, and I don't think it's anything fungal. Possibly when this leaf was developing, I might have touched it and damaged it or something similar to that, but it did not continue spreading, so I don't think it's issue of light, because this leaf, it looks normal and it has been under the same light. I received this Hoya last year in October, and when I received it, it had about 5 leaves, and now you can see, I think it has 10 leaves, so it did grow a significant amount of leaves, I would say, but it still did not produce a vine for me. It does have 4 grow points, and I can see the start of a vine, but I'm still waiting to see that vine being developed. But I would say this is a steady grower. It's not very fast, it's not extremely slow. I have some Hoyas that are painfully slow, but this one does well. It produces leaves, and I think soon I can expect that it will also produce a new vine. I think I ordered it in September, and it took about 1 month for it to reach me. So it was sent for a phytosanitary inspection, and then it was without any potting mix for about a month. I also ordered Hoya imbricata and Hoya elliptica and some Hoya multiflorus for my friend, and none of those survived the shipping. Of course, it was extremely long, but this plant was absolutely fine. I recently started joking with some of my plant friends that this Hoya consumed the life energy of other Hoyas that were in the same package. Of course, that is not true. It's just that this is a very hardy Hoya, and it can really go long without water. That brings us to watering. I never noticed any signs of this being underwatered. The leaves never go wrinkly on the backside. It never loses the firmness of the leaves. It has very tough leaves, very cardboardy. I think this Hoya doesn't require so much water, and it will definitely forgive you if you skip a watering or two. It will tolerate that. Some other Hoyas won't. The tips of the vine will dry out. It may lose some of the leaves, but this one, no. This one is very tolerant, so if you skip a watering, it's fine. I usually check mine every 10 days to see if it needs water, and right about now I think it is time to water it. I can see that the mix is completely dry. You can take a look at the mix in the second frame. It has bark, perlite, ceramis, leca, and very small amount of cocoa peat and general potting mix. This mix allows for a lot of air and for really good drainage, and there isn't enough cocoa peat here or general potting mix, so it doesn't hold on to moisture a lot, but this plant is still fine. It will still grow very, very well, and it will not have any issues if it's slightly on the dry side. I fertilize this Hoya every time I water. I will use just orchid fertilizer. This isn't a very fast grower, so it doesn't need a lot of fertilizer. So even if you use a lesser amount than it is recommended, it's completely fine. It doesn't show any signs of nutrient deficiency on the leaves, and it still grows well. So I would still fertilize it in winter if you keep it in a highlight place with a lot of warmth, just because it tends to put out leaves. For me, it put out several new leaves during the winter, but in the winter I just use a very mild solution of the fertilizer. In terms of humidity, I think this one can withstand lower humidity. 30–40% will be perfectly fine, I believe. It may grow a bit better if you give it 50–55. I keep it at around 55, maybe sometimes 50, maybe 60. It will depend on the day. My humidity never goes really low, and this plant is growing really well. I don't know what would happen if you put it in lower humidity. Maybe it will grow a little bit slower, but I think that is fine. I don't think you really need a humidifier or anything special for this plant. As I previously said, the flowers are supposed to be very similar to Hoya and Cressata, but I did read that the flowers are larger, and I would say that they probably smell the same, so they have that light citrusy smell to them. This one still didn't flower, it's under 1 year old, and I did read this one is quick to bloom, so perhaps 1 year after you root it. So I do hope that this summer I will see some new flowers, or actually some first flowers. And I have to say, this also falls in that category of my favorite Hoyas to grow. It has that prominent veining on the leaves, and I am a big fan of this with Hoyas. I picked this one just because of the leaf. I didn't even look at the flower. The leaf is just enough for me in the way the leaves look. I never had any pest pressures. It's very resilient. I did have mealybugs on some of my other Hoyas, but this one was absolutely fine. I never saw any pests. I never had issues with overwatering or underwatering. It's a very tough plant, and I think if you pick it up, I think you should expect no issues at all. Maybe it will be a bit slower to grow, but that's fine. We all have time, right? Who doesn't have time now? There is a similar Hoya to this one, and it goes under the name Hoya Germany. I'm not sure if it's the same plant, so if you know, please let me know. I would like to find out. I did see there is a quite significant difference in price between hoyajennifer and Hoya Germany, so I'm wondering maybe it's not the same, maybe Germany is a different hybrid, but to me they look almost identical. You will definitely not find hoyajennifer in your garden center. This is someone that you really have to go to orchid nursery or to specialized Hoya nursery. Sometimes succulent or cacti nursery will have it. For example, Ulig in Germany, they carry this Hoya, and it's very affordable there, but otherwise I think you should be able to find this one with your collector. Thank you for watching. This was Hoyajennifer, and I will see you in our next 30 Days of Hoya.